Welcome back to Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter after show. Today we're stepping into chapters 7 through 9 of Prisoner of Azkaban, a stretch that's less about explosions and more about quiet shifts, setting up a lot in these chapters. Fear, protection, memory, they all start moving in these pages. The shadows are stretching longer under Hogwarts light. I'm calling this one Boggarts, Break-ins, and a Broken Broom. So, these 3 chapters form kind of like a mini trilogy, similar to some of the other episodes we've made trilogy chapters. I find it very satisfying that really works out that way, because if the story really worked across the 2 chapters, I'd just break down the 2 and see what comes next week. So, The Calm Before Azkaban's Storm. It's not the most plot-heavy run, but it's packed with texture. Lupin teaches his first class. Sirius tries to break into the castle, which is pretty terrifying from the character's point of view in this situation. And Harry faces the cruelest kind of defeat, one that digs into his past instead of his pride. It's the stretch of the story where Hogwarts stops pretending everything's fine. This is no Chamber of Secrets, but things are starting to amp up. So, let's start with Chapter 7, The Boggart and the Wardrobe. Defense against the dark arts has never felt this alive. After Lockhart's glitter-coated nonsense, Lupin steps in and shows the class what really real magic looks like. Practical, emotional, and human. I would like to think that Harry has never really, or the Gryffindors haven't even had a great defense against the dark arts teacher at all. I don't know what Professor Quirrell taught them. I doubt much. And we know Lockhart just put them in awkward situations because he was a fraud. So what is a boggart? A reminder. It's a shapeshifter that becomes whatever you fear most. Waits inside a wardrobe, and instead of a lecture, Lupin gives them this experience. Riddikulus, he says, and suddenly fear becomes funny. Neville goes first. And what is his worst fear? Snape, who was just being a complete jerk to Neville in the last few pages before this lesson. And Hermione gets in trouble for helping him, and Neville's not having a great day, so I kind of love how they give him a win here. A win. With the flick of his wand and Lupin's encouragement, Snape is dressed in Neville's grandmother's vulture top hat and a handbag. The room erupts. Every student takes a turn, and each laugh is a tiny victory. Lupin doesn't want to humiliate or intimidate. He empowers. Is he the best teacher in the series? I mean, alone? Because, I won't spoil if there's any other even defense against the dark arts teachers after him. We don't know that yet, technically. After 2.5 books of adults lecturing, here's a man who actually teaches defense against the dark arts. Confidence through play, that is his magic. But when Harry's turn comes up, Lupin suddenly steps forward and he says, "Here, Neville, let's let Neville finish." And the boggart turns into a glowing white orb before vanishing. We'll learn a little bit about that later. And then later, Harry worries that Lupin thinks he's weak, still haunted by fainting on the train when the Dementors come, because Lupin skips over Harry. And I think Lupin thought maybe Voldemort would come out, and that might scare the whole class or something like that. So the foreshadowing beats, we won't go too far into them, but Lupin's reaction hides what the boggart would have become, a Dementor, of course. And also, I don't know if he wondered if it'd be a Dementor or Voldemort, but either way, I don't think he wanted to take Harry's dignity away, because I think Harry is just not going to react even to the boggart Dementor very well. And that glowing orb, that's a hint of moonlight. The subtlest breadcrumb of Lupin's secret. Fear turns into laughter, into mastery. Rowling's showing us the Patronus philosophy in miniature. So let's move right along into Chapter 8, Flight of the Fat Lady. Hogsmeade weekends arrive. This is an iconic place in this Harry Potter magical universe. Hogsmeade is huge, beautiful, and fun, and it's just the type of thing Harry has to miss on the first few days because of his situation and not getting his permission slip signed. Something tells me he wouldn't be allowed to go to Hogsmeade even with the signed permission slip, and the teachers got off lucky to be able to use that as an excuse. It's just the kind of day that makes you feel like everyone else gets to live life but you. Harry is left behind. It just sucks because I feel like I've been in this situation before. I'll tell you exactly when. I was never the greatest reader, so in grade school we had to do like this reading series competition type thing, and if you didn't finish it, you got to watch a movie still, but the other half of the class and kids get to watch the Goonies. I never seen the Goonies, so that made me. Is that the name of the movie? The Goonies. Anyway, Harry doesn't have his permission slip, so that's just what it is. Ron and Hermione head off together, and for a few hours, Harry becomes the castle's only ghost that's still breathing. But then there's tea with Lupin. Instead of sulking, he visits Lupin. I'd say he kind of runs into Lupin. I think he was making his way up to the owlery. I said that right. It's warm, quiet, a teacher's office full of old books and odd creatures. Lupin explains why he stopped the boggart. He thought it would turn into a Dementor and didn't want Harry to relive that in front of the class. That mix of care and restraint, the man's a walking masterclass in empathy, something Harry definitely needs in his life. Then, knock on the door, Snape comes in with a steaming goblet of a potion. Your potion, Professor? The tension practically hums. Lupin insists he needs it regularly, and Snape leaves annoyed. Harry files it away, suspicious, but polite. So, the potion in this cup. This is Rowling's slow burn at its finest. We're too early to name what it really is, but everything's already there. The moonlight, the fatigue, the care, and the secrecy. Snape's involvement muddies it beautifully. Is he helping or hunting? So, I'm trying not to, work my way around spoilers here, even though there's a lot of blatant foreshadowings. If you haven't read the book yet and you're not knowing what's being foreshadowed, you'll read it again later and be like, wow, there's so much here to let me know where this is going. Then comes Halloween. Harry completely missing out and talking to Lupin and whatnot in his office. I think it was a good thing for Harry to talk to Lupin a little bit, get his perspective about why he didn't want him to face the boggart. Hermione and Ron return from Hogsmeade, and they bring Harry a ton of treats. It's still making Harry jealous. We learn and hear the first time in the whole series about butterbeer. Yes, butterbeer. I love it. I want my own. I know people have made it on their own. I think it's like rumored to taste similar like butterscotch. I don't know, but it's warm and I want it. I want a nice cup of warm butterbeer right now. That sounds so delicious. It's just the name of it is attractive. It's insane. Then comes Halloween night. The feast is loud, golden, and cozy until the castle screams. The fat lady's portrait has been slashed. Peeves reports she fled, terrified, claiming that Sirius Black himself tried to force his way in. That's terrifying. Dumbledore commands calm, but the tone of Hogwarts changes instantly. No one goes back to their common rooms. The students sleep under the enchanted ceiling of the Great Hall. Teachers keeping watch. And Dementors outside, because Dumbledore does not let these Dementors in the school. He does not like them. They're kind of like anti-hero type things. They're supposed to protect people, but they're freaking creepy. Jeez Louise. Hogwarts isn't untouchable anymore because of this. The illusion cracks. For the first time, evil isn't out there. It's inside the castle walls. Maybe not for the first time. Literally inside the castle walls. Last book was a basilisk. Harry's confusion is the reader's confusion. Why would Sirius target Gryffindor Tower of all places? The seeds of a far more personal story are planted. That's enough said about that. Like I said, these chapters are a nice trilogy. They give us a great bit of information. It's definitely like living in the world for these chapters. So beat by beat, them walking to class, Hermione just disappearing and then showing up again. Like, what was that all about? Ron's like, what are you doing? And her giant bag of books. We'll learn more about that through Hermione later in the story. I gotta say, this book is brilliant in setting things up. Chapter 9, Grim Defeat. Time passes under heavy skies. Security tightens and Dementors hover at the gates. Quidditch season looms, but the joy feels thinner this year. Gryffindor versus Hufflepuff, not Slytherin. It is the first time we are meeting the great Cedric Diggory. Yes, finally we meet Cedric. He plays a part in this series, and I think it's really important. I think it's great that we get to meet him in this book, opposed to the next book, where he plays a bit of a bigger role, is all I'll say. And it's good to see Harry start a little bit of a rivalry with him, a friendly one, despite the weather being completely brutal. Rain slicing sideways, left and right. It's cloudy. It's not the most favorable weather for any sport, let alone Quidditch. Dementors gather on the sidelines, drawn to the energy. One of my favorite little things about this chapter is when Hermione gets hold of Harry's glasses on a timeout, and she puts a spell on them so he can actually see. He was barely even able to see anything. And he is fighting Cedric on getting this snitch. Cedric was on after it first, and then Harry followed. But in midair, Harry sees the Dementors, these dark shapes floating like death itself. And suddenly, he hears his mother screaming, "Not Harry, please, not Harry." And it's very, frantic, and we hear, her say that, I see her say that many times. I could see how this is very traumatic for Harry. The memory floods in, and then the world goes black. He gets completely cold in the chest, similar to the Dementor thing that happened to him on the train, on the Hogwarts Express. And Harry does not really mix well with these folk, with these kind of dark demon overseers, protecting, yet just disturbing, Dementors aren't monsters, they're metaphors. They don't drain power, they drain peace. They make you relive your worst memory over and over. I don't know if it's just for Harry, but that's the night he lost everything that he gets to see or listen to or hear. For others, it's whatever breaks their sense of safety. He wakes in the hospital wing, dizzy, embarrassed, and crushed. Gryffindor lost. Cedric caught the snitch not long after Harry fell. And worst of all, his Nimbus 2000 splintered by the Whomping Willow. A little bit of revenge for crashing a car into it last year. Goodbye, Nimbus, flying Nimbus. This broom meant childhood, first flight, first freedom. I think McGonagall got it for him. And Rowling breaks it right here. Something about the loss of that thing, a personal possession, it marks the loss of an era. And onward and upward into more serious storylines with Harry. So the chapter does end with the broom breaking, which is very sad. It sucks for Harry that he's losing his Nimbus 2000. And at the same time, it's very nice to see his team rally around him in the hospital wing before Madame Hooch kicks them out so Harry could rest. I think Harry's reaction to the Dementors is very, very dark. I find it like a good metaphor for somebody's greatest fear. Like, kind of literally what they went through with the Boggart chapter. Dementor is what Harry would see. And if I'm not correct, I'm pretty sure Harry does get chosen by the Boggart in the movie, and he has to face a Dementor in that moment. So there's more coming with that. This is where the movies and the books start to split off a little bit. This book is a little longer. I will say off the cuff here real fast, this book has long chapters, but about the same amount of chapters, I think, as the other books. So we're covering this bigger book in about the same amount of episodes, I think, as the other two. So it's interesting. The show's moving fast, and it's moving faster than I thought. Maybe once we get into the big, chunky Goblet of Fire and thereon bigger books, we'll be finding more 2-chapter episodes. The thing is, I'm not going to just do 2 chapters because I want to make the show longer and extend longest. I want the best possible story. So I'm going to, go with the 3 chapters, even if they're longer chapters. There wasn't as much that happened here. I could say that Hagrid is being safer and you doing really simple classes with them. Something happened to one of the Gryffindor girls. Her cat died at home or something like that, and it was kind of predicted by Professor Trelawney, which does kind of make Harry think a little bit about the warning of death and the Grim and the wolf. It's all kind of coming together for Harry and making more and more sense, yet more and more scary. So, what do we have after these 3 chapters? A boy learning what fear really means, a mentor quietly guarding his secret, a fugitive on the run, scratching at the castle gates, and the painting in which lets them into their Gryffindor tower, and the whole castle realizing it's not invincible. The magic here isn't flashy, it's psychological. Rowling starts to pull the series into deeper waters without warning us. The humor of Neville's Snape in a hat moment melts into a mother's scream, and we never quite go back. So next time on Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter after show, we head toward the Patronus training and a mysterious gift from beyond. Hogwarts is getting colder, but Harry is about to learn how to fight back with light. This has been Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter after show. I'm going to shout out my new friend who just sent us an email, Joe. He's been through a lot, and he gave me a great message last night. This was for Marvel Maniac. But I believe the same Joey, really cool guy. He's our newest MVP. Michael Finney, you're still up there. You're getting VIP status. Joey's really gone through a lot, and he opened up to me about some of his struggles and things he's going through, and says he listens to the podcast. And Joey, thank you so much, because you listening to the show means the world for me. And the fact that it can help you through anything as tough as what you've been going through, it just is an absolute honor to be a part of your world in that sense. I'm going to give Joey a double shout out too. He's going to get a shout out in the next Marvel Maniac. I'm just letting you know. And we're going to be doing a Patreon mix soon. So we have patreon.com/Marvel Maniac. That's my other show. We're going to introduce Harry Potter into the same Patreon, meaning I'm going to rework it. It's going to be called Honest HQ, I believe. And we're going to have background stories and stuff based off of what's on Pottermore, theories for Harry Potter, the TV show. We might talk a lot about that on there, and we'll do separate mini-sodes on there for Harry Potter as well as Marvel. So for now, get to patreon.com/Marvel Maniac. It'll soon be changed to a different name. I'm just warning you of that. We have a tip jar in our about section of this episode. Never expected, always appreciated. And thank you so much. If you have anything you'd like to say about this episode or the series in general, you can email at magicmugglepod@gmail.com. I love to hear your thoughts and your magical dreams on what the Harry Potter show can bring us, opposed to what we already know in the books. Will they change things? Will they pull up, hey, they know what the story is, so let's twist the story around a little bit, move some things around, and so even older fans can get surprised while watching the new Harry Potter show. I'm starting to wonder if we're going to finish this podcast in terms of the books before any of that show is released. However, no matter what, we will be covering it, and I'm just so happy to be here reading this with you. Again, a shorter trilogy of chapters here, a lot of just laying the groundwork, and I think the story really starts to pick up a little bit in the next 3 chapters, which I'm so excited to talk to you about next week. Thanks again for listening. You are amazing, and you are magical, and who cares if you're a muggle? We're all muggles, and I think muggles can turn magical at any time, but that's not really my rule. It's not my wizarding world. I'm just talking about it. Anyways, until next week, wands down, hearts full.